Why are you going silent?
All right, I won't go silent.
So afraid of the video. Don't be afraid, Roger. We have 3 minutes to showtime.
Three. So, are there any awesome? Do you live like in the Portland suburb, or actually in the city of Portland?
I am in the city of Portland. I'm in the southeast, and it's
Oh, the
kind of it's
southeast.
kind of the awesome part of Portland.
Right, the best
So you
part.
have it is. It really is. So you have
South Beast.
the oh my God. The southeast is awesome. It's very neighborhoody, but there are these cool strips of, and I live off of one that reminds me a lot of like a mix between kind of Brooklyn and Haight Ashbury.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you find a lot of thrift stores here and kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
funky smoke shops, and there are,
Cool.
grungy kids selling crystals on the street. And
Wait, like
Crystals, not
crystals, but not
crystal.
crystals.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you have nice restaurants and other stuff.
And hate,
It's
it
a
would
cool
actually be
area.
crystal, not
Right,
crystals.
exactly. Crystals.
We have that. It's funny. We have a very similar neighborhood here in LA. We've got like a strip that's a block down of restaurants and thrift stores, and there's a crystal shop, and yeah, we're in an ethnically Portland neighborhood.
There we go.
Yeah.
The various crystals must align.
Yeah, it's probably where the Portlandia kids hang out when
Yeah,
when they're
when they
not
come.
here in Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they come here. All right, you get ready to do this show?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it then.
Okay.
Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by its audience, not outside organizations. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, October 6th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Very pleased to be joined today by Dr. Kirsten Sanford, a.k.a. Dr. Kiki, host of This Week in Science, the longest-running show in the world.
It
Or
seems
close to
like
it.
it, right? It's been around forever.
Yeah, man, it's a great show. It deserves to have its long run. You've been doing it since literally the 90s, right?
Yeah, it was like 98, 99.
Yeah, yeah.
It's inception. Yes.
I am a big fan and a supporter on Patreon of This Week in Science.
Thank you.
It's been too long since we podcasted together. Thanks for coming back today.
I know. I'm so excited. I got the email from Roger and you, and I was like, yay, let's make this happen.
Oh, very good. And we used to do Tech News on Tech News Today on Thursdays, so it's appropriate to be
That's
back
right.
on a Thursday.
That's right. Tech Science Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got that feel today because we've got a little nanotech for you later on in the show.
That's right. That's what we're going to talk about.
The Wall Street Journal says Snap, which is the new name of Snapchat, the parent company of Snapchat, is preparing for a public stock offering, or as those VC types like to call it, an IPO. The valuing of the company is rumored to be at $25 billion or more, and they're targeting March 2017. So those of you who can buy stock without conflict, get your pens ready. And here are some more top stories. Oculus made several announcements at Oculus Connect Thursday. We'll move through these fairly swiftly. Oculus lowered the specs required for the Oculus Rift VR headset. You now can get because of a new software API called Asynchronous Space Warp, that's just the name of the API, you can run the Rift on a machine with an NVIDIA 960. Before you needed a 970, and an Intel i3-6100 or an AMD FX 4350 or greater. So that brings down the cost of getting an Oculus because you don't need quite as powerful machine at the base level.
Which is fantastic because then you get more people possibly getting into the Oculus universe, which is what they want. They have to bring the cost down for adoption.
Yeah, and it also means that those of us who do have an NVIDIA 970 who were maybe worried like, I wonder if the next version of Oculus VR is going to run on my machine, well, that probably will because, the floor comes up. Oculus also announced they're developing a prototype of a standalone VR headset. So like the Gear VR, but with the phone built in. We've seen a few of these out in the marketplace. Oculus is working on one. Mark Zuckerberg was on stage, called it a standalone virtual reality product category that is high quality and affordable and that you can bring with you out into the world. That was the part that got me, Kiki, is like, because they showed a picture of it. Like, it doesn't have It doesn't. It's not glasses. It's not AR.
It's not AR. You're not looking at the world. You're still in darkness. You're still encased in the virtual reality simulation. And you don't know what's going on around you. And Oculus goggles are these big, bulky things. They still haven't gotten the profile down on them, except now maybe they're working on trying to make them wireless. And make them more sensitive to your head movement, but you're going to get I don't know, it's this big piece of machinery that you stick on your head, and please don't go into the real world with it.
Well, and that's why they're calling it a prototype too, right?
Yeah.
Because the one they showed has a bunch of machinery and a circle on the back and this big piece of metal that arcs over your head and connects to the front sensor. Maybe it will have the ability for you to see what's actually around you in the final version. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a little lightweight. But it isn't. I think it is interesting that they're working on something that sort of bridges the gap between the HTC Vive and the Oculus VR, and then on the other hand, the Daydream VR, the Gear VR. Oculus is also going to cover Unreal Engine license fees for any developer's apps sold through the Oculus Store for up to the first $5 million in gross revenue. So that helps out that helps out app developers a lot. And Oculus is developing something called React VR for developing virtual reality websites. And then they're creating a VR browser called Carmel. I was all excited about this until they said, and Carmel will work on any Oculus Rift. So I can't view it if I'm in an HTC Vive, and suddenly it's not a cross-platform browser.
Not across. Nope.
Oculus will sell earphones designed for virtual reality for $49, shipping later this year. They're supposed to be a little nicer than the ones that come with the Rift. Oculus Touch controllers, that was the big thing everybody was waiting for, will be available for pre-order October 10th for $199, shipping December 6th. They're going to be bundled with an extra sensor and the games VR Sports Challenge and Unspoken. So you'll get two games, the extra sensor and the controllers, available for $199. And if you want to do room scale with Oculus Rift, which HTC Vive does out of the box, you can buy a third camera sensor for $79, shipping December 6th. And The Verge did the math real quick. It would cost $880 to get the controllers and the camera sensors required to mimic what the HTC Vive does for $800.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's becoming competitive. I mean, some people are going to want the Oculus environment, and they're maybe going to be willing to pay that $80 extra.
Yeah, I think if you've started in the Oculus environment and you're like, I wish I had room scale, then you're
going to add to it. You're going to keep adding to whatever system you have, as opposed to plunking down another $800 for a new system, unless that's what you do.
It's like when I had my TI 99.4A in 1982, and it was actually cheaper to buy an IBM PC. But because we already had the TI 99.4A, I could add things to it, like extra memory, extra, and it would end up costing more. But you'd already started with one, so at that point, it would be more expensive to switch.
Yeah.
And then the final feature they announced was the ability to broadcast your VR gameplay to Facebook from the Oculus Rift.
So people can watch in 2D what you're playing in 3D. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could pan around like a 360-degree video a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that's one aspect of it. And hopefully they've got this VR social aspect that they're developing. And they talked about the VR avatars and how you can hang out and play cards with your friends, or, get on a messenger call, or, do any number of social things within the environment. So maybe, because it's Facebook, maybe they'll set it up so people can have their own headsets and watch you play in 3D through their Oculus headsets live. Maybe that'll be some future down the road step.
Absolutely. That is going to be a feature of Facebook that they will promote at a Facebook announcement soon, saying, hey, remember when we said you can do this? Well, guess what? Now you can look at Facebook in your Rift. Because you can already view Facebook in the Rift. So they just need to connect that dot.
Yep.
Reuters sources, we're off the Oculus announcements now. Reuters sources say that Twitter has informed potential buyers that it will conclude sale negotiations by October 27th, the day the company reports third quarter earnings. So they want to wrap this up before the earnings call. Sources told Recode that Google, Apple, and Disney have decided not to bid for the company, leaving Salesforce as the only company rumored to still be considering a purchase. Twitter Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff did not remark on the sale itself, did not make any comment about Twitter, but did tell CNBC, these things happen all the time. The reality is we have to look at everything, but we're going to pass on most things. So very much a signal like we're probably going to pass too.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like we're not going to put up a bid.
Yeah. And what we've heard is that Jack Dorsey doesn't really want to sell. Other board members like Ev Williams do want to sell. And it looks like Dorsey was able to get them to put a deadline on it, saying, fine, if you can't find anybody by October 27th, then we're not going to sell. And at this point, it looks like they won't. Twitter
unless somebody comes out of the woodwork in the next couple of weeks, but with contracts and all the paperwork that's involved, that is not likely.
Yeah. Which may or may not be good news for Twitter. I mean, I know that Jack Dorsey believes that they can make this work on their own, but I think most shareholders in Twitter and a lot of spectators were expecting that this would be the thing to save Twitter, that would make sure, that it would ensure that it would last into the future. So,
yeah, what is surprising is that Google completely went out of the running. They said that absolutely not, we're going to do it because Twitter really would, and with Periscope and the video aspects that it could give to YouTube, Twitter could be a good buy for Google, but they're not going there.
I guess Google's very much into focus. Like they're cutting programs and consolidating things and simplifying, and maybe they just didn't see an easy way to fold Twitter into all of that. Yep. LinkedIn is still in the process of being acquired by Microsoft, but they're rolling out new features. Announced a new feature called Open Candidates. The feature lets you signal to recruiters who are paying $8,000 for the premium service of LinkedIn that you are open to changing jobs. It'll only be visible to recruiters from outside your current place of employment. So this is a way to kind of subtly just tell recruiters, because they have to pay this, company fee, this $8,000, that, hey, I'm open to a job, but not give yourself away to the place you're working from. New feature rolls out first in Canada, Australia, the United States, and the UK, with more markets to follow this year.
My question here, people are going to pay $8,000 to use LinkedIn?
If you're a company, right? Because it makes no sense if you're thinking of it as a person, like us, like if you and I were recruiting for our shows, we would not pay $8,000 for this. But if you're a multi-million-dollar company and you're like, we need to get on LinkedIn and find the best people, you could write off $8,000 as a business expense, no problem, and especially because you're hiring tons and tons of people.
Yeah.
It's probably a bargain.
It's a bargain for some, yeah. And it will be a good service that people will probably really use.
Yeah, so you're going to make sure that only big companies are going to see it. So it may not be great for freelancers, but if you're the kind of person who's like, well, my job is really only available at large companies, then this is going to work. And if you're in a company that, it's illegal for them to be punitive about you searching for a job, but maybe you just rather they didn't know, this could keep them from knowing, although people talk, right? So I wonder what the first person who's going to use this that gets outed at their company is going to be.
That's a good question. Just remember, people, even on the internet, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah. Or there's just a bug in the system and it doesn't show it. Like your recruiters are listed as a company subsidiary, so it doesn't think it's the same company and you get listed or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Samsung acquired Viv. Viv is a company that makes AI software powering a virtual assistant. We've talked about it on the show before. Viv was founded in 2012 by Doug Kitlos, Adam Chayer, and Chris Brigham. If those names sound familiar, it's because they also developed Siri and sold that to Apple. Unlike Siri, Viv is going to continue as an independent company under Samsung after the acquisition is finished. Viv wants to support better interconnectivity between apps. The way a lot of the assistants work is you talk to me as an app, and that's it. And Viv wants to bridge the gap and let apps actually talk to each other directly. They also are pioneering, and a lot of companies are doing this now, but they were one of the first to do dynamically written new code, where Viv can actually do a little coding of its own when you ask it to do something, and it didn't have code to execute that. It can write code to accomplish your task. Kitlos says he is committed to keeping the platform open. though obviously those millions of Samsung devices will be the main platform.
Yeah, this is a really cool development. I mean, I use a Samsung Galaxy, and to have some of the apps and some of the things within my device work better together would make me a very, very happy user.
Yeah, and it's become clear. They said this in the announcement the other day, but it's only become nailed down the last couple of days that people realize that Google Assistant is only going to be on the Pixel phones.
Yeah.
If you're getting a Samsung Galaxy, you're just going to get Google
Nothing.
Now. Yeah, you don't get an actual virtual assistant.
Right.
You just get what you have already. So Samsung's going to want to put this on their phones, and it sounds like Viv will be allowed to be an independent company that can contract with other phone makers as well.
And I would feel a lot better asking my phone if it's like Viv is like Vivian, or short for that, as opposed to hello Google, or having my child ask my phone and get inculcated into the branding of the Google behemoth.
Yeah, I would like these assistants to be nameable. I would
like
to
the
be able to
personalizable, right?
Yeah,
Be my
I don't want to have to call my Amazon Echo Alexa. I would like to first of all, Eileen hates the Amazon Echo because she doesn't like the tone of voice or personality. So I wish I could just change it to be like, oh, now it sounds like Luke Cage. Now you'll use it all the time.
Yeah, well, driving assistants, the voices for GPS units for years, they've known that, and they have added multiple voices. You can choose accents or different male or female tonalities, and that's good.
Yeah.
And these personal assistants and the devices need to figure that out as well.
W. Scottus one in our chat says, I thought you could change the name of the Echo only to Echo. You get a choice of two names. You can call it Echo or Alexa. But yeah, I think what Viv has been doing is really interesting, because they've been trying to really push the envelope, and what they gave to Apple under Siri was more capable than what Apple was able to implement in iOS. For lots of reasons. I'm not criticizing Apple. It was just when they were an independent app, they were able to do a lot of interesting things. Now, there's also things that Siri can do now that they couldn't do as an independent app. But Viv is them kind of picking up that ball and saying, okay, we learned a lot doing that. Let's run with that. Let's push the boundaries. And having Samsung come in and give them financial stability and a huge platform, but still let them be an open platform that is independent, I think is huge.
Yeah. Financial stability as Samsung deals with melting phones melting finances as a result of that.
Granted. Samsung's mobile division, which Viv is a part of, certainly has its challenges right now. But it is a huge enough company that they'll probably weather it fine. As long as more Note 7s don't burn up on planes in the next several days.
Don't cancel more flights. Come on. Come on, Notes.
The U.S. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler has revised privacy policies being proposed for U.S. internet providers. We told you about the previous proposal that imposed opt-in requirements for ISPs to collect information about customers. That was more stringent than what Google or Facebook have to deal with, and the ISPs complain. They said, look, just because we're regulated by the FCC instead of the FTC doesn't mean we should have to play on stricter rules. So the FCC has revised the policies. The new FCC proposal is similar to the FTC rules. It means ISPs will only have to get you to opt in for sensitive data, things like location or financial info. However, the FCC still went one more step than the FTC and said, we are going to include your browsing history under sensitive information. The FTC does not define that as sensitive information. So we can guess the ISPs are going to complain about that. The FCC is going to vote on the new proposal October 27th. Do you feel like this is important to you, Kiki?
I think it's very important to me. I think it's important to everybody who uses ISPs or uses services that rely on ISPs. I mean, if you use the internet, this is going to affect you in some way at some point down the road. But I think that it's gotten so mired in the policy jargon and it just seems like companies fighting each other as opposed to something that is can be really boiled down to the end user.
Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. That is a look at our top stories. If you were listening to Daily Tech Headlines yesterday, dailytechheadlines.com, you heard this story. The 2016 Nobel Prize for Chemistry was awarded to 3 scientists, Jean-Pierre Sauvage, Sir Fraser Stoddart, and Bernard Feringa, in recognition of their work designing and synthesizing nanoscale machines. So little tiny molecular machines. Sauvage led a group that first made a molecule rotate around another in a controlled manner, like the barest definition of a machine, but his team was the first one to do that. Stoddart led a group that first threaded a molecular ring onto a rod so you could make an axle, which is a really important thing if you want to have machines that are rolling around like cars. And then Feringa's team was the first to make a molecular motor that would continue to run in one direction so you could move that rod. And those developments have led to nano versions of elevators. They've simulated muscles. There's even 4-wheel drive nano cars.
I know. Imagine someday little robotic nano cars zipping down the freeway of your arteries.
But fighting crimes or rather blockages.
Fighting blockages and infections, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the directions this is going, and it's just so fascinating to watch.
No, there's so many things in nanotechnology that are fascinating. Some of them just on the face of what we can do, some of them for the medical implications or the technological implications. But these, as most Nobel Prizes, are research advances that took place as far back as the 80s, the 90s. What has nanotechnology done for us lately, Dr. Kiki?
Well, the most recent report comes out of Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, and it has to do with transistors. And have you heard of Moore's Law?
Yes, Moore's Law. Let me see if I can mangle it for everyone. Because there's like an infinite number of ways of expressing it. But one of the ways is that it is a doubling of computing power every so often. Some people say 2 years, some people say 18 months. It was originally just doubling the number of transistors on a die, I think, or something close to that. But it has come to be used that increasing computer power that we've all gotten used to.
Yeah, increasing computer power, but you're right in the doubling or the increasing of the numbers of transistors on a chip. And the way that we do that is miniaturization. So things have to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's just physics that you're not supposed to get down below 5 nanometers for the size of the gate in the transistor. Now, a transistor is set up where it has a source and it has a gate, and then it has the drain from which current flows. So current comes in through the source. The transistor gate, which is the actual transistor part, that opens and closes to turn flow on and off, and then the current flows out the drain. Because of the size of electrons and the flow of electrons through material, using silicon, 5 nanometers is the smallest you can get, because below 5 nanometers, you start getting into quantum effects, like quantum tunneling, where once you take the gate smaller and smaller using silicon, those electrons are like, I don't even care about your freaking gate.
Like
your
all that crazy
gate is nothing to me.
All that crazy quantum mechanics theory you hear about of like cats being both dead and alive,
right,
and particles being in superposition in 2 different parts of the world at the same time, that actually affects transistors at that scale, is what you're saying.
Exactly. And so that puts an absolute, or has put an absolute dead stop on how small transistors can become. However, at Lawrence Berkeley Livermore Laboratory, they decided, they're like, maybe we'll just get rid of the silicon and we will use molybdenum disulfide, MOS2. And molybdenum disulfide is also used as an engine lubricant. You can get it at an auto parts shop. So it's really common. It's used, it's got potential for use in all sorts of things: LEDs, lasers, nanoscale transistors. And what they've done here is they've been able to use carbon nanotubes and molybdenum disulfide. I love saying molybdenum.
Say that right
molybdenum. And they have been able to shrink the size of the gate to 1 nanometer.
Now, let me put that in perspective for people. If you're buying a computer today, it's probably got a 20 nanometer FinFET processor. That's probably built a processor made on a 20 nanometer process. It might, if it's newer, have been made on a 14 nanometer process. The ones in the pipeline, and we've talked about these being delayed by Intel, are on the 10 nanometer process. And 5, as Kiki mentioned, is where the dead stop was expected to happen. These guys are saying, hey, we think we figured out 1 nanometer process over here. So
we think we figured this out. Exactly. And, there are a lot of caveats to this. This is just in a laboratory. It's proof of concept. They haven't done it billions of times. They don't know how well they can scale manufacturing and production, whether they'll be able to have the kind of certainty and accuracy in the scale and production as it scales up. But they've been able to do it, and being able to do it gives a direction to go. So maybe Moore's law is broken for now.
or preserved. No,
preserved. It's still going. Yeah, exactly.
No.
It's not dead yet.
It's still living. And as I understand it, the molybdenum disulfide is heavier or denser, I guess, than silicon. And that's denser. Why the quantum tunneling effects don't cause a problem?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. You can say denser or heavier, but really what it is it creates more resistance for the electron flow.
So it keeps those electrons in line. No tunneling out of here and doing whatever you want.
You tricky electrons, we're just going to hang on to you, slow you down. You're not going to dip around and tunnel all over the place by like a bunch of lawn moles.
Yeah. So the question isn't, can they do this? They've done it. The question is, how easy is it to do at the scale you would need to make this workable in consumer electronics?
Exactly. Yeah, because as I said, what they've done is they've had to switch from silicon, which is a proven material for chips, to work to this molybdenum disulfide. And, we don't know how easily tractable that will be to chip production on a large scale.
Yeah. And you're dealing with a different lithography, a different way of etching the transistors.
Yeah, all sorts of things will have to be different for it. So So the question is, how easily will it work in the future? We don't know, but the fact that they've done this is,
it's actually there.
It's there. It's like, this is huge, has huge implications for computing.
Worst case scenario is Moore's law gets stretched, and this doesn't happen for longer than Moore's law usually allows the process to go, and it's expensive. And it can only be done in really, limited cases. But even then, that means you could still have some pretty powerful computers. They would just only be affordable by governments or something.
Right.
Maybe that's not such a good idea.
Large multinational corporations.
Right. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? So, the AI that takes over the world, it might happen sooner.
On 1 nanometer process?
Yeah, on this 1 nanometer processor.
Now, that's the worst case scenario.
Facebook.
Yeah, we're not saying that's what's going to happen. You could just put on your portable Facebook VR headset and ignore the whole thing. You'll be fine.
Just leave me alone. I'm just going to be in my simulated world for a while.
Well, this is cool. I'm glad you found this, because it's hope for Moore's law. It's hope for, smaller, more powerful processors. And processing power isn't the be all end all of what we can do with computers anymore.
No.
But we certainly haven't exhausted the amount of power we can get out of a processor yet, and we want to be able to make things more energy efficient and smaller and things like that. So this is a really cool story. You can find more stuff like this on This Week in Science, kids. Go check it out. Let's get to our messages of the day regarding Pixel support. We had a question yesterday on the show from an emailer who wanted to know, how long is Google going to support the Pixel? Because like the Nexus 7 only lasted for a few years, and whereas the iPhone, they do tend to provide support and provide patches and updates longer into the life. I think 4 or 5 years anyway. Rich Stroffolino, who is a writer and sometimes host of Daily Tech Headlines, and listener Andy Wilson both pointed out that Google on their store page states at least 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security patches. So your minimum is not going to be what our emailer yesterday wanted, but they may go longer. We will see. Then Atom Mox in our Slack today pointed out a waste of time that is really fun. He wrote, has anyone gone to citymapper.com and opened their console? And what he means is in Chrome, you can go to View, Developer, JavaScript console, and you get a JavaScript console that you can use for lots of things. But if you do it while you're looking at citymapper.com, you get a text-based adventure game.
Oh, how fun!
So let me see. If I go to citymapper.com and I go to File, View, JavaScript console. Wow, it's taking long to load. Everybody's going to it at once.
Look what you did, Tom.
Yeah. It says you are in a town square. Paths lead to the north, south, east, and west. And I'll try to show this on the video for the folks watching the video as well. But you just get the console over there, and then you can type in like, oh, okay, I want to go east. You walk carefully along the path. You can move east and west, and then you write east again. There is a house. So people have said that you have to be careful. The house fell on someone, apparently.
Oh no!
But it's a real text-based adventure game. So it's a little fun. Good work, citymapper.com.
Does this explain the clowns?
I don't think it does. We were just talking about the clowns this morning. Good. Eileen is very much worried about the clowns. She's like, I don't like this. I don't like this trend. And I'm like, they're just clowns. Not all clowns are bad.
I just got an email from the Portland Public School System that there had been threats to the Portland Public Schools of attacks by clowns. My child is in a kindergarten and he could be attacked by clowns. I am terrified.
I used to call the
social media fail clowns.
I used to call the second Star Wars movie Attack of the Clowns, and now it's not funny anymore.
It's not funny anymore. No,
it's not. Well, as I mentioned, folks, Dr. Kiki Sanford is the host of the amazing This Week in Science. Where can people go if they would like to subscribe, which they totally should?
You should go to twist.org, and on our website, there's a link for subscribing and finding various ways to subscribe. You can also find us on YouTube. We are This Week in Science on YouTube. So you can go to twist.org/YouTube if you want to find us on YouTube, and you can subscribe there.
Yeah, you get all the great science news of the week. You get poetic disclaimers. You get animal corners.
It's true.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, last night we talked with two volcanologists.
Ooh, about the reality of alien life, the Vulcans, I assume. Or do you mean
volcanoes?
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, we have a lot of volcanoes going off lately. I know it's just like statistical randomness, but still, unless they said it was the mole men. Did they say it was the mole men? I guess I'll have to tune in and find out.
You have to tune in. You'll tune in to find out if the mole men are behind the volcanic eruption.
Recent spate of volcanoes.
Spate of activity. That's right.
Check it out. Twiz.org, twis.org. Big thanks to everybody who supports this show. You're the only way that we are able to do the show, and so we thank every single one of you who supports the show. dailytechnewsshow.com/support. is the place you can go to find out more if you'd like to become one of the people who supports the show. And a big welcome to brand new patron, Stephen Kuznarovis, who I totally butchered your name, and I apologize. But thank you, Steve, for joining the patron support. Welcome him, fellow patrons. And big thanks to Lauren Lang, who just upped her pledge at patreon.com/DTNS. Yay!
Yay!
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And for those who keep asking me, our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Shannon Morse and Len Peralta. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
People in the chat are saying Vulcan clowns point out the futility of life. Infinite clowns in infinite combination.
Oh, dear.
That was great. Thanks for
How many-
explaining molybdenum.
Molybdenum. I think if I had a superhero name, it would be Molybdenum.
Molybdenum.
Molybdenum. There we go. Yeah.
She, with the power of heavy disulfides, she slows down the evil quantum tunneling threats.
That's right. The threats
I
to
think we have the
our
basis of a comic here.
electronics.
We need someone out there. Someone out there is illustrating this for us right now. I know it.
As we speak.
Molybdenum. So Roger usually reads us our titles at showbot.tv, but you can play along with us at home by going to showbot.tv. Roger cannot be heard, though, because gremlins have stolen his voice.
Oh.
He'll be back in a moment, though. I like zipping down the freeway of your arteries.
That was a good one, right?
Oh, there you are.
I should just reboot right at the end. Like,
I guess. Well,
Because-
it wasn't doing it for a while.
that's
Is
because
this a regular?
yeah, it's a regular thing. It's because I used to not silence my mic, but I would close it up on the headset.
Mhm.
But that was.
Goldasator says, I don't always tune in for DTNS Live, but when I do, Dr. Kiki comes on the show. Correlation does not imply causation.
There we
Well,
go.
Maybe they should watch
Oh,
next
God,
time and see
later.
if she shows up.
Yeah, we could try to
Zipping
repeat the results.
down the freeways of your arteries. What has nanotechnology done for us lately?
It was an awful lot of Oculus.
Dr. Kiki, she blinded me with science. Siri's daughter Viv defects to Samsung.
That's funny.
Oh
It's
snap!
like, Shane told a little story in that headline. You could tell that guy's a documentary filmmaker. That was good.
That's right. Hi, Shane. I saw
Uh,
you in the chat room.
let's see.
How much for that Twitter in the window?
Call me Echo or Alexa, but don't call me early in the morning.
Don't call me late for dinner.
Encased in virtual reality, science will never die. It's Vive is Vive la AI. Vive la AI. That's
It's working hard. It's working hard.
yes. Too chicken to buy Twitter. Chicken.
Chicken. Don't send in the clowns.
Don't send in the clowns. That's
Awful lot of Oculus. What has time? Honey, I Shrunk the Science, Beyond the Rift. Discover the nanoscience, the tiniest transistor technology today. The incredible shrinking tech.
I don't know. I don't know which one I like the most. Do either of you have a favorite?
No, I do not.
No, the ones at the top I think are pretty good though.
What has nanotechnology done for us lately will fit the show description the most because it's the show description is about nanotechnology. But zipping down the freeways of our arteries is still on topic and pretty poetic. And then, of course, there's, the
Honey, I
whole
Shrunk the
story of
Science.
Siri's daughter Viv defects to Samsung. Like, I like that one too. So,
I'm just
oh,
laughing.
and Shane likes his. Surely you're joking, Dr. Kiki. Surely you must be joking. Sorry.
Surely you must be joking.
Well, what has nanotechnology done for us lately is getting votes. Oh, wait, arteries.
Well,
Arteries just zipped ahead. I'm
Zippering.
about to export the audio, which is the point at which I need to decide on a title.
Something has to happen soon.
Something is going to be decided in 1 second here. Do you have a preference whether I put like Dr. Kiki or Dr. Kir? You like Dr. Kiki, right? That's what how
Dr.
you want to
Kiki.
like
Yeah.
in meta tags and stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's good for me.
All right. Wow, they're all tied. Zipping. Okay, zipping just one. Zipping down the freeways. That's our title.
Zippity doo da, zippity a.
My oh my, what a wonderful artery.
That's where I was going.
Kind of forcing it. But.
I know. The too chicken to buy Twitter comment, though, that's just reminding me. We used to have the penny saver when I was growing up.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like print advertisements and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I used to read it on Sundays when it came in with the newspaper. And I remember this one ad just was week after week. And it was chicken, $2, you catch. And that was
Wait, say that again?
Chicken, $2, you catch.
You catch. I was like, chicken, $2. Wait, what?
You catch.
you what?
Been forever stuck with me. I love it so much.
That's so funny. Yeah,
$2,
we had
you catch.
there were communities around us had the actual penny saver, like that was a franchise deal, and that was what was up in Champaign when I went to college. But we had the Bond County Shopper. That was we had our own independent version. And the folks at the Greenville Advocate, which was the newspaper, did not like when the Shopper came on the scene.
No.
So they were stealing those ad dollars.
Those ads should be ours.
Yeah. They don't even put any content in there. It's just ads. Yeah, we have a little West Side LA newspaper called the Argonaut. Covers like Santa Monica, Culver City, and all those places. And I wonder how long that'll last. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that as long as there are people who, you know, still do text and still pick things up when they're walking by a grocery store or a cafe or a mini mart or something.
My next door neighbor's in her 80s, and she she gives me the. Have you read the Argonaut? Oh no, I haven't. Here, take mine. She's a huge fan. Oh, Mel says the penny saver went out of business in May 2015.
Save too many pennies. Penny wise, pound foolish.
Or did they become the quarter saver?
The quarter saver.
Saving pennies. When are we going to get rid of pennies?
Never.
Is that movement still have any traction? No.
No. Let the penny alone. People.
I like that. In Australia, and you've been to Australia. Have you been to Australia, Kiki?
I never have. I've spoken to many people.
So you're the control. Roger and I have both been to Australia. I thought I would hate not having pennies because they don't have them in Australia, but it turned out like it didn't really matter.
I have no love nor loathing for the penny. I think they're just valuable things to have around besides the monetary aspect.
Oh, I guess Canada got rid of the pennies, but I guess I only ever use my credit card when I go to Canada because I never noticed.
If you have
they also got rid of dollar bills and $2 bills, right?
They also got rid of rudeness.
That's right, and rudeness.
No, they didn't.
There's no rudeness.
They're just rude in a slightly clever fashion.
Yeah, well, they have workarounds. Yeah.
And, no, but pennies have so many uses. I think you can't without a penny. What other low denomination piece of change would you squash in the rails of a streetcar or a train or something?
Or if you have 2 quarters in one of those cool crank machines at the arcade or the museum that puts a cool picture of a space shuttle on it.
Yeah, it stretches out the penny and then engraves or embosses a new one.
Right.
I bet we could find a workaround for that without pennies.
What?
Do you think the crank penny squasher lobby is what's keeping the penny alive?
It's probably it. Yeah, that and parents trying to teach their children how to save money. Piggy bank.
Well,
child, and then we'll take them to that. What's it called? The coin master at the grocery store.
Yeah,
well, those things are
coin
awesome.
Master lobby.
I love that so much.
I took a big jar of pennies, dimes, nickels, and quarters, and I traded in for $84 worth of credit on Amazon.
Wow. So you don't get cash from them. You only get gift cards?
No, you can get cash.
You can get cash, but they deduct, right?
Okay. So Amazon gift card is, if you use Amazon anyway.
It gave me just a straight amount.
Okay.
Which is fine because I buy all sorts of stuff off Amazon, like Amazon gift cards.
Like all those things you could otherwise pay for at the grocery store where the Coin Master is.
Yeah. Well, I can't get. Oh, actually, I can't get a.
You know what you can't get? Have you guys seen Tilex lately?
The cleaner?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I know. I generally avoid those.
They don't have it at Ralph's or at Bed Bath & Beyond near me. Like, was there a law passed against Tilex?
Maybe you need to go to Home Depot.
Maybe that's
You
what
know,
I should do. There's a
Home Depot might not have it because I recently went there for cleaner.
And they didn't have a good selection.
Well, California recently passed a law that banned my anti-dandruff shampoo from being sold in the state.
I didn't notice.
Thank you. I use the Body Shop Ginger shampoo. I am not afraid to admit it. I use it. And it's great because it's supposedly all natural, but there is one carcinogenic ingredient in it, so it's banned. And
it's
so
great because it's all natural, except for that
Exactly.
cancer-causing ingredient.
Well, cancer-causing can be an all-natural
It
product.
totally
I mean,
can. That's what
Totally.
natural doesn't mean it's not going to.
No, I know,
Cyanide is
I know.
found in apple seeds, right? And people scarf
Arsenic.
those down.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to eat a lot of it. But so I had
What? We should ban apples.
no, they should.
People have tried.
I know they have. It's not even
Remember the
funny, is it?
ALAR scandal in the late '80s?
Oh, yes.
Oh no, all those Washington apples were sprayed with the pesticide ALAR, and now it's just toxic, give you cancer. Oh wait, the cancer rates are pretty much almost the same.
All natural snake venom. 100% organic venom.
It's the best kind, you know. It's handcrafted by artisans.
Yes. Small batch artisan handcrafted organic snake venom is in my
And each
coffee.
a little mustache glued straight on.
You laugh, but you know there's a place in California that sells that somewhere.
Snake
Or
venom.
Portland.
Just a couple of drops in your daily drink.
Just enough.
Put a little chest hair on you.
Gives it a little kick.
Survive the morning.
See now, how come you can't see? Like you get anti-venom, or they used to come with anti-venom through horses, right? Like they would inject a little bit of the venom. In the horse.
Is that right?
Isn't that how that?
Well, I know they did. I know they did vaccines that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering,
Did they do anti-venom that way?
I mean, is it ever possible to do that with a person and just have like Sal or something from like Yonkers, and he's just the one dude that just creates the anti-venom in his bloodstream? It's a total awesome way to make a living, right? If we're going to an automated society, why not farm out your body as a machinery for pharmaceuticals?
This sounds like a very interesting direction to go. Yeah.
It's a career option.
You could
career
literally
option.
sleep through your job.
It's in my blood.
Literally, it's in my blood. Test it.
But maybe we can start getting things like, what is the
Pharmaceutical testing. It's in your blood.
what is the compound that we get from horsue crabs? Yeah.
It's for leukemia or whatever. It's not leukemia.
Heparin is it heparin for blood thinning? No.
Yeah, it's.
But anyway, we basically suck the blood out of the horseshoe crabs to isolate this compound that's used in medicine. Why do we have to be affecting all these populations of horseshoe crabs when we could just take it from people?
I know, it'd be awesome.
If people made it. So we need to start allowing genetic modification. People can decide to CRISPR themselves.
Sure.
And then, you'll just be like, okay, I'm going to produce whatever it is. Here you go. Every Wednesday at 3 p.m., I'm going to go in and donate my blood.
And they're over harvesting the crabs.
They're
really not even crabs.
Amoebocyte lysate binds and clots around fungi, viruses, and bacterial endotoxins.
Aren't they supposedly the oldest
I still can't find what we use it.
species? Or
They're a very old. They're a very long. Yeah, they're an old.
like they haven't changed all that
ancient.
much.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Well, so they've been around longer than horses.
Yeah.
So back in the day,
How
they
did
were
they
just
get
called,
their shape?
they were just called shoe crabs.
Shoot. Because people
They
are
were
like,
just called funny shaped crabs.
put it on
back in the
foot,
day.
shoe on foot.
Someday there will be an animal that fits this on their foot crab.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, I mean, really, there aren't that many mono-toed hoofed animals, really, outside of horses.
Yeah. Well,
funny.
I just can't wait for the day, and I'm taking this from this Week in Science, for the day that there can be a book called My Two Moms and Dad.
And
Because
Dad.
I've got mitochondria from one and DNA from the other two.
That's right.
That's fascinating. When you mentioned CRISPR, it made me think of that.
Yeah, and this is something that we talked about it last week, and it's definitely something, the mitochondrial transfer therapy for people who want to have kids but have mitochondrial disease. I mean, people say it's genetic modification because it's potentially modifying the germline.
Because it's heritable.
It's heritable in females, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's something that could allow people to have kids who want to have kids, and
None of us have our dad's mitochondria.
that's true. We all get our mitochondria from our mums.
Mm-hmm. Is
Why
that
don't-
fair?
Why don't we just build synthetic wombs?
Look, it's not about fair.
Not all mitochondria.
Fairness is a very subjective concept, though,
Sure.
Exactly.
which is why I
However.
get all the cake. Is it fair that I'm eating this for you and possibly shortening my life in the process?
I like new Jello. mRNA, am I right?
mRNA. That's right.
Nice. All right. Well, we are published. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thank you again, Dr. Kiki. This was a blast.
Oh, it's so much fun. Thank you, Tom.
And we will be back
Great.
tomorrow with Shannon and Lynn. Bye, everybody. Cool. We are off live. That was great.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Totally
getting in
fun.
touch, Tom, and sending emails and going, hey,
Hey,
you, I know you.
I was actually listening to Twist, and I was like, why don't we? I can't remember what story it was. It was a couple weeks ago, but yeah.
This
So
is-
Awesome.
you
Oh,
know,
it's still
I know
live.
you're busy too, but whenever you want to come back, let's do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
I want to get you on with Annalie Newitz.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun.
All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, we're still broadcasting on the video. Oh no, the secrets are out.
Oh, no,
Goodbye.